Hey everyone, welcome to today's video. Today we're going to be looking at Ubisoft's Terms of Service, and just to set up the video, by the time I'm done, you're probably going to either sign Ubisoft's Terms of Service with I agree, or you're probably not going to play any video games anymore. Now, there are two sides to look at this. There's a content creator side. There's also the YouTube, the gamer side. That's what I meant. The YouTuber, the streamer, and then the regular gamer that doesn't have any interest in this. And then, one of the really important things that we also have to notice is whenever there's money involved and whenever we are benefiting from this, we as content creators, we understand that if Ubisoft didn't make these games for us to beat on or enjoy or critique or praise, we will probably not be making videos or making any money from it. So our perspective is a little different. And I see some content creators, usually throw shade on Ubisoft, but I think there's something sinister here. And let's go into this first. But before we jump into it, let's look at Ubisoft's video policy. They allow for you to monetize your videos via their YouTube partner program. Ubisoft is one of the companies that does that. It's very straightforward. It has a few points. CD Projekt Red also has a very straightforward and simple version. A lot of other companies do. But is it as simple as that, though? Is this all that it is? Is it? The question lies in the terms of service, the terms of use, the rules of conduct of various of these gaming companies. I have on my computer, I think about 4 of them opened up so that you guys can basically see what is actually going on behind all of this, because it'll be really interesting when you see this. Let's read Ubisoft's terms of service. And then I'm going to open up some other terms of service from other gaming companies that I picked at almost random. And like I said, you're going to be quite surprised that they are basically almost very similar. The only difference is wording and people that just want to throw shade at Ubisoft because it's fun. It's easy to beat on Ubisoft. For some strange reason, they're just that beatable kind of company for many people. So rules of conduct says you're not going to abuse or harass Ubisoft representatives via verbal or written communications. Okay? You're not going to buy your account or trade your account. Okay. You're not going to bypass regional stuff using VPNs. Okay. You're not going to engage in cheating, hacking, botting, boosting. Yesterday, if you watched the state of the game, Yannick mentioned that boosting is something that's encouraged in the division. So a lot of these rules may not be able to overlap across all the Ubisoft games. Some games will have their own specific terms of conduct. So that's something. So tampering that gives account owner or his teammates an unfair advantage. So boosting the account, taking any inappropriate action towards a minor, you're not supposed to do that. Come on. DDoS, exploit glitches, you're not supposed to do that. I know people were saying, oh, there are bugs in the division. Well, you're not supposed to exploit them. There might be bugs, you can report them, but you're not supposed to exploit them. That's what the rules say. You said I agree. Provide false registration, blah, 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 grief, or blah, 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 and then violate any rules of the currency and then engage in current, and then refuse to obey instructions from Ubisoft representatives. And everybody goes, oh, Ubisoft, obey Ubisoft. If an Ubisoft representative loses their mind while you're asking them questions or maybe over customer service, and they're like, well, why don't you save me the trouble and kick your monitor? Are you going to kick your monitor? Or are you going to refuse to obey? So this is very arbitrary, and to enforce this on gamers is actually going to be quite difficult, honestly. In fact, probably one of the most difficult things they'll do if they ever get to that point, which I don't think it will. Human beings are naturally rebellious. So this already is giving them all kinds of license to be rebellious. There are people who will just sit there and be like, well, watch me disobey and disregard all of this. Now, that's one side. And as a gamer, you have really no problems, honestly, because you're not on the forefront of this stuff in the public relations scene of things. You're not making YouTube videos. You're not making an hour critique of every single thing that Ubisoft or its developers are doing. You're not on Twitter, bantering with all this stuff. This stuff, I think, is directed at content creators. I genuinely think these terms of service were updated to temper and protect this company from whatever they perceive is maybe attacks or something that's inconvenient for their public relations and their brand. So gamers, saying all this stuff, I'm not going to buy an Ubisoft game, I'm not going to do this, be careful. Because you look at Riot Games, I brought up Riot Games for a specific reason. I saw one of my fellow content creators, someone I've always been a fan of since Division 1, say on Twitter that they can no longer invest in any Ubisoft game. So I looked at what game that they were playing, and I'm not trying to call you out, bro. I didn't mention any names, but maybe some of you may be able to put it together. They're playing Valorant. So I went and looked at Valorant's terms of service. Riot Games makes Valorant. And by golly, is it the same? It really is the same. I'm not joking. Check this out. Can I share my project? Can Riot use my project? Yes. We want fans to create and share cool things with each other, and we want to remove barriers to sharing. If we spotlight a fan project or make something that resembles what a fan might have made, we don't want to be sued. So you give us permission to spotlight or share your project with the world. More specifically, you agree that we may use, copy, modify, distribute, and make derivative works of your project in any form on a royalty-free, non-exclusive, irrevocable, transferable sublicense worldwide basis for any purpose, and without having to credit you, pay you anything, or obtain your approval. We own ya. This is where Ubisoft writes theirs. They write it under the UGC right here. That they own. Their language was a lot more straight and stringent, but they basically said it. They own your derivative works that you make with their content. That's called user-generated content. So I've seen a lot of people say this, Ubisoft owns your soul. That was Upper Echelon's thumbnail. Another content creator said, obey Ubisoft. All this stuff out there. And I just go and just scratch my head like, what? Maybe some people think some of us are idiots. Bungie. If you share your content with anyone else, you grant Bungie a worldwide royalty-free, non-exclusive, perpetually revocable, sub-licensable, transferable license to Bungie, and it assigns to use, create derivative works to distribute, derivative works of, distribute, display, and perform your content, and to use your name if Bungie chooses in connection with your content, in each case, without paying any compensation to you. And B, you must include the following notice about the Bungie content with your content, whether in a README file or on the appropriate web page or anything else that makes sense, so that users of your content see the notice. CD Projekt Red. This is a section about content, which you make available either to us or to other CD Projekt Red users, for example, through forum messages and all that. We call this user-generated content. Please remember that CD Projekt Red Game or Service may have additional separate legal rules, blah, blah, blah. 9.2, as far as we and you are concerned, you own any user-generated content created, but we need you to give us certain rights over it so that we can actually transmit it through CD Projekt Red Games and Services. So when you make UGC available through any CD Projekt Red Games or Service, you give us non-exclusive, irrevocable license to use, modify, reproduce, create derivative works from, distribute, transmit, communicate, and publicly display, perform your user-generated content connection with CD Projekt Red Games. This language is not specific to your pictures or your image. Ubisoft just made theirs specific. I think they're the more transparent ones. Whoa! Ladies and gentlemen, we need to calm down. You see, it's this kind of attitude that we as content creators are creating that's probably making these companies continue to raise up their defenses. The best way to critique is not to monetize a video critiquing. We all do it. We monetize our videos. Maybe some don't. I'm not saying all. Most. It's to keep your wallet closed. I looked at EA's user-generated content issue. They have the very same thing. Now, why, I think, would they do this? I tried to look up how much it costs to make The Division. This is the business side of things. This article said this one scene in The Division costs $200,000. $3,500 to make trash. That's basically the cost for the trash cans on the streets here. I think Brooklyn or Manhattan. I can't remember. And future AAA games could cost over $200 million to make. And yet, people grief and emote over people. And when Ubisoft disables VoIP, people cry and whine because they spent money on their IP and the PR that goes with it. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Business 101. I don't care if you hate what I say. If you don't like what I say, it's the reality. This is the world that we're living in. Can you revolt against this? Yes. You could say, I'm not buying that. Can you go make your own game? Yes. Unreal Engine is free. Literally. You don't have to pay a dime. You go to Unreal Engine, you get started now, download Epic Games, download the versions. There are multiple versions available for Unreal Engine 4. In fact, Unreal Engine 5 is coming soon. And it will be free for up to $1 million of your royalties and sales that you're able to get without paying Epic Games a dime from your first $1 million. I really do not know how else to put it other than this is an overreaction to something that's already been existing for a long, long time. Now, I can understand that content creator that was, saying they wouldn't support an Ubisoft game was complaining about Ubisoft saying that, they can basically get away with not finishing their work because they do not guarantee. There's a little one that says, we do not guarantee our services or something at all times. It's probably what they say, but EA has the same thing. These guys can give you a broken game and they say, well, it's a software. You got to pay attention to the entire context to be able to make a very, very, informed decision and not just go with a lot of what's going on. I can understand frustration. I can understand all that stuff. But if you already signed the terms of service for all these other companies and you're saying Ubisoft terms of service is bad, it sounds a little more hypocritical to me. Because even though they know, like I'm telling you, even with The Last of Us and everything, I think that was actually one of the things that really inspired this as well. This may have played into, Last of Us 2 may have played into this. I'm saying this is my opinion. Even if people are going to criticize Last of Us 2 and content creators are going to say, many of these content creators, they're going to go buy that game so they can make a video on it, so they can monetize the video. I'm not saying that that's a bad thing. I'm just saying it really sounds really duplicitous to me because many would have sworn that many of these content creators are not going to touch the game. But they got to kind of, get that footage. And that footage, has been given to you based on the video policy. So you buy the game, you get your footage so that you can make your rage video over it. Let's be real. This is really tiring, man. Somebody's got to really call out, what's going on here. And I just feel like we need to do it. Go look through terms of services of anybody, Activision. They hold all these, the game belongs to them legally. It's a license that they're actually offering you, and it's a revocable license. And if you don't want the revocable license, then bounce. They do have a California residence provision here, though. Notice to all California residents. Pursuant to this code, Ubisoft is located here and here. The fees and charges, blah, 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 blah. If you have a complaint, so California has specific things that their attorney general and their legislation have put in place to protect them. In Europe, there are also other things that also do protect, a lot of the consumers. But I think this is from a PR perspective more than anything else. A lot of these, like I said, will be very difficult to apply across a lot of Ubisoft games. I just think a lot of people complaining need to demonetize their videos. Just say, turn off monetization on this video. It's a critique video. I'm not going to get $1 from it. Remove all your merch and everything from it. If you really want to criticize and want to beat your chest, the arbiter of truth. Like I said, when I'm done with this video, you're going to jump on that terms of service and say, I agree. Or you can delete all the games in your gaming library and just not be a gamer anymore. Gamers were impatient. Our childlike self, that vision and need for a dream, we've allowed these companies to get super powerful. Support your indie game developers. That's how you do it. Don't pay money to the big corporations if you don't want to agree to the terms of services. But at the same time, try not to talk with two sides of the mouth. That's my video.